Oui, oui, c'est beau.
J'aurais testé le switch avec le...
En fait, est-ce que tu as 5 minutes pour qu'on teste le screen sharing ou ça va? Ou on a juste. Non, je pense que ça allait, c'était
Ça
correct.
fonctionnait,
Ouais,
ouais. Ok, parfait.
Ok, c'est beau.
Ok,
À tous.
C'est bon.
merci. À tout à l'heure.
Ciao.
Ciao. Yes, I think so. Yes. I need Victorio, and we can go. Where is Richard? Richard is gone. Okay.
Richard
Needs to go now. Are you introduced, or you want me to?
If you could just say that the session is starting.
Victorio, you need to accept the invitation. Okay. Shall we start again? The next session, please. Yes. Okay. So welcome back. Sorry, we promised you some innovation, and you've seen we've been innovating some of the solutions to make sure that everyone is here. So sorry about the glitches. So we're slightly out of schedule, half an hour. Richard was planning to go in a start on sharing ad hoc. And let me introduce next panel. Actually, it will be a panel discussion with Stanley President. And I don't have a basic here. Correct? You will do it? And then the panel session will focus on design and education. Here. And the next panel actually is online already. They are in Canada, so here
Thank you. Good. Kia ora. Thanks, Lauren. I'm Stanley Frelick. I'm Director of Learning and Teaching here at AUT, and our session this morning is to talk about a national project that's been funded by our funding partners, Ako Aotearoa. And the project is about learners and mobile devices. We're going to have some demonstrated interactivity going on while the session's running. So you can tweet with the hashtag #NPF14LNG. So you can tweet questions, comments, insights, or whatever. And if you're not on Twitter, you can log into today's meet, todaysmeet.com/NPF14LND. So we'd really like to see you get your mobile devices out and participate as we go through the panel and then the Q&A afterwards. Now, if we were a band, we'd be known as the Hashtags because we are not presenting under our names. We are presenting actually under the project hashtag NPF, National Project Fund 2014 LND Learners and Mobile Devices. And the project sketch is really up there. So what we're trying to do is something really ambitious, probably not as ambitious as quantum filmmaking. But you know, sometimes I do think with this project we are kind of like in parallel universes because we're trying to get 6 institutions across New Zealand to all collaborate together to engage with key questions around learners and mobile devices. So our project partners are AUT University, EIT, Eastern Institute of Technology, represented today by Catherine McCullum. The Massey University of New Zealand, represented by Dave Parsons, who's tweeting from the back, or today's meeting from the back. Otago Polytechnic, Sam Mann. University of Auckland, Adrian Moyle and Steve Lutvis. And Unitec, James Carson. And in addition to myself from AUT, we've got Tom Coughlin and Vikal Narayan who also talk about the case studies that they're doing. Essentially what we're doing, we're at the end of the first year of a 2-year project, so it's still early days, and we've been working this whole year with practitioners from across the institutions who are all starting the process of case studies around our key questions. And at the end of it, next year, we hope to deliver to our funding partners a range of strategies, resources, guidelines for how practitioners can take this learning and implement it in their own situations. So without any further ado, I'll move on to our first representative, Guy Carroll. He's also with us. And mobile devices, and he's just going to brief us a little bit on that.
Kia ora everybody. So the segue there really is one of the key questions that we're looking at in this project is what are the benefits and challenges for Māori learners how can traditional Māori pedagogies be better integrated into learning and teaching, and what roles do mobile devices and social media play in these pedagogies. So largely we have a strong focus on Māori learners across all of the 6 institutions. What we want to do is try and identify some of the success factors, but also the challenges that a lot of our Māori learners are experiencing at tertiary level. That will then extend into looking at and exploring some of the teaching and learning practices and pedagogies that are being practiced across the 6 institutions. We'd like to look at some of the pedagogies that are underpinned with a strong focus on ako, learning and teaching practices that are conducted with a method of or under Māori values and Māori methods of transmission knowledge. So we're wanting to look at those pedagogies, how are Māori philosophies being integrated into these practices, Māori culture values, traditions, but also to do with Māori or language. And we want to consider some of these pedagogies and frameworks to explore how mobile devices and social media can be interwoven. And what does that look like? Does that then throw up a new framework that we can share amongst our practitioners to start using and practicing within the institutions? So the goal of the outcome is to try and produce a new framework underpinned with Māori pedagogical practices that interweave social media and mobile devices, but that can be useful for Māori learners, not just Māori learners, but all learners. So hopefully we can achieve that over the next sort of year and a half and remaining the project. So I'll pass it on to Vikal.
Thank you, Dee. So I'm representing the AUT stream along with Tom. So we are actually representing the people we work with, and we thought rather than us talking, we actually wanted to share a small video of what the staff have done so far, and they were reflecting on the experience. Remember, these staff had never done anything with regards to learning and teaching in mobile device and social media. So we have 2 minutes per person. I'll quickly play this. Ah, right, in a hurry, sorry.
Okay. So we use the Google Community and VOG. We had a sort of slow start to it. Then the first students came on and then the word started to get out that it was really useful. One of the things I thoroughly enjoyed about the community was that it was a forum where we could take an idea and explore it together. So we would often put a question after a lecture or a tutorial or an idea, and the students would then
I was making the assumption. I have forgotten that we don't get to learn how to learn or to learn how to learn. And if they can't do that with traditional methods, then how are they going to do that with non-traditional, new, contemporary technologies? And so I assumed that they would know how to use us and that it would be easy for them. The Google community, I thought, allowed a lot of firsts to happen that I kind of ordered, which was like a lot of firsts for the paper. I was able to incorporate reflections, feedback, and photos of this spirituality theme, which had never been done before. A sharing of reflections from the worksheets between students, and I was able to see if students were on the right track or reflecting some of the influencing factors, whether the thought processes were on the right track for me. I was able to see student ideas and thinking evolving in relation to key concepts. I could see them identifying key concepts and then doing analysis of those key concepts, and of course I designed some quizzes to recap on the key concepts, which is something really fun. So there's a lot of learning, or I think was captured or could be seen that was otherwise unseen.
So that's it. If you have any questions, sketches during lunch break or after the end of the day. Next up is Sam. Oh, the other one.
So Tiger Polytech has got a Designing for Learner Success strategy. Those of you that recognise the Agile Manifesto will recognise the structure of this. this is the summary of the overall thing. So we're very much moving people a long way in that, away from what might be considered traditional classroom, very much into project-based from the start and so on. And what's occurred to us, or the problem that we've got, is that that's leaving behind traditional support structures. So, for example, now. So, for example, the carpentry people get the students to build houses as they do everywhere, and the challenge then becomes how do you get the students to both provide evidence of the fact that they built the house, but also, and the particular elements of it, but also that they've reflected on it in appropriate ways, sharing that with them. So this is one of the projects. This is a project called Squawk, which some students of mine have developed, and it's kind of trying to take the approach of a hybrid between a learning management system and the Wild West of Twitter. So trying to find a sort of integration of those two things so that the lecturer still has the ability to control the groups and target particular people in different ways. So the notion is that it's trying to promote to the students, capturing the work they're doing, capturing the learning they're doing, even if it's at the pub later, talking to their friends about what they've just built today or what they've just done today. Most of the learning happens in that kind of environment, so it's trying to reflect on those.
Thank you, Sam. Adrian?
So our thinking of education learners and mobile devices community of practice back here. We're meeting weekly to discuss teaching and learning with mobile devices and working on the pedagogically sound integration of the mobile devices and mobile learning into our courses. And for this year, pedagogically sound has meant mobile devices used in support of the actual course learning outcomes. Some of the important concepts that we are using and exploring are covering 6 critical sectors. We're looking at authentic learning, motivation, engagement, interaction, feedback, collaboration. And this is some excerpts from a Google Plus community with students and looking at community scaffolding and intentionality. You can't actually play that video, but it's a call-in song that the class made together about their first 2 weeks of learning. So you can see that they're starting to share and collaborate with each other in the community. Just early days, but lecturers are reporting that there's lots more student sharing of work, increasing collaboration, a stronger sense of community. The students seem to be more connected more easily, and the relationships are being strengthened, and the feedback loops are being made easier for the lecturers. And along with that, there's a sense of empowerment for students that they're more confident in their own learning. This one here shows some student assessment artifacts, and those have become more complex and more nuanced, and it's much easier for the lecturers to actually mark them. They're integrating more images with the text rather than pulled out of hot text files. So it's making marking very easy. The other thing that's been happening is that the lecturers are thinking differently about how to teach learning as they integrate mobile devices. The courses, it's changing how they do that. We've used a variety of different tools, smartphones, iPads, laptops, Google Apps, Google Plus, Google Sites, Video Star, Pinterest, Educations, and explain everything.
Thank you.
Afternoon, everyone. So I'm James from Unitec, and we've got 4 different projects that are at Unitec, and of course, I think 2 minutes wouldn't really do the justice. So what I thought was I might show you one little example of something that we're doing, which kind of fits with this sort of theme of this symposium, I think. So one of the key things we're trying to get happening more in our teaching is the sort of the authentic real-world tasks happening within the classroom or outside the classroom setting. So students are really engaged in what they might do when they've gone on to finish their quals. So this is an example of a marketing exercise where the students have to create their own marketing promotional material, and they need to use augmented reality to bring it to life. So this is maybe cue the picture here. So this is a poster that the students developed, and the brief of the students is that they need to add some sort of digital content to the poster, and that's totally up to them how they want to do it. It just has to add value to the sales pitch or to the promotion itself.
Yep, all good now.
Oh, sorry. So this student decided, well, actually, they will create their own sales pitch. So they went off and they created their own pitch for the product, Cruise, probably Gavin. And so they recorded their pitch. They then used the tool called Aurasma to layer the pitch over the top of the real world poster, and this is all their own work. I've taken all the audio out so that I can talk over the top of it. What we're trying to do now is we're trying to take that kind of concept from a business sort of setting into early childhood. So we've got another project I'm working on there where they're looking at how early childhood teachers could work through doing the same kinds of things with augmented reality and have their students creating these things themselves. So the little ones creating all sorts of amazing real world content and then bringing that virtual content over. So that's some of what's happening here.
James.
At EIT, we've got a similar sort of thing going through that all the other groups do. We've actually started with just the computing group, and the idea of the whole project is that it's communities of teachers getting together, trying to explore new ways. And what we hope to do, though we started with the computing group, is then to replicate those communities of practice into other areas. And so the idea is that later on we're actually going to be collaborating with Unitec in the early childhood, etc. So once again, we've got quite a few different projects on the go, but I thought I'd give you an example of one of the things that we're doing. And excuse me. So the idea behind a lot of the projects is collaboration and communication. Is it going to work? If it doesn't, doesn't matter. Yep. So I'll just leave it there for now. So a lot of the things that they're doing is sharing work and collaborating. So one of the things that one of the classes have been doing is building ebooks. And so the idea is that the resources and the it's not all consumption by the students, it's also creation and the creative side and the sharing. So the project behind this one was within a computing paper, operating systems, and they got into groups and they built an ebook. But the idea behind the ebook was a little bit more than just textual. So we've got things like videos that are embedded, text, etc. So I'm not going to play that because I don't want the sound to come through. But and what else was there? There was quizzes as well. Down here. Oh, no, that's the terminology. And interactive quizzes. So all of these were created by the students, and then the great thing about it is it can be shared among the students. And not just within that class, it can actually be used in the lower levels of the classes as well. So the idea is creating resources that are reusable, rewindable, and shared amongst the students. And so, for example, those quizzes could be used in the final exam. So those are some of the things we've been playing with. Let's
and I think that's it from us. As you can see, just a little snapshot, a little vignettes of a very large and challenging project. But in the short time that we've got left, we'd love to hear your comments, ideas. We're progressing to the everyone now.
So I'm just jumping in sharing. Do you have any questions?
I wonder if you've got any question about the large groups.
Vous m'entendez? Moi, je vous entends pas. Faut que vous me fassiez un truc comme ça. Vous m'entendez? Tu peux me faire un pouce devant l'écran? Donc, on fait les questions-réponses, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, là. Et ensuite, je vais vous présenter à la salle, d'accord? Et puis, vous pouvez commencer la présentation. Super. Merci.
That we're working with, which isn't part of this specific project, is some large first-year workforce. Also, it's similar
David, obviously you've all got very different experiences, but what I'm interested in is how much time you spend getting students used to the technology, or whether there's an assumption that they all know what to do, and where that shift comes from teaching the technology to using the technology to teach. I just wonder what you think about that process.
I think it's part of the research that Tom's done around the critical success of having lectures and teachers know around the usage of tools, providing support for students, but then also realising that they do find out from the peers how to utilise tools. So there are varying ways that they need to use them. Yeah, that's the tricky.
One bit that we cut out from the video we had was the lectures actually reflected that before they had the Google community, students actually defaulted to using Facebook. So there were all sorts of things happening which were not visible to the lecturers. And having a community, a formal place where students could collaborate and talk about, they said they didn't really have any issues because normally there were things said about the lecturer and lecturers from other classes, and then even though they had a closed group, they would invite people from outside. So that actually created problems for the university and for the lecturer. They didn't observe that. Also, another thing is students are using those tools, but they don't really know how to use it for learning. That's one of the things one of the lectures reflected on. So the things they mostly use is Facebook, Instagram. When we did the survey, all of them, that was the tool they were using. And how they were using it, purely for social purposes. So yeah, it's about embedding it within that process, so students see the potential of these tools in terms of learning and future employment.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm just, one of the principles that we dealing with is, if you bringing their mobile devices increasingly onto the campus. The first thing to do is to try and use the same space.
Encore une question et je vous présente au groupe, d'accord? Super. Et en anglais, hein? Tout en anglais. Hein? Super, great. Excellent. Yeah, we've got just one more question from Mark.
I'm kind of interested in what extent have you found this implementation to be stymied by what I might call very deep structural framings for curricula. That is that pedagogical spaces are instrumental spaces for a kind of teleological outcome. And to what extent are you hitting the wall precisely with those deep structures?
All over the place, Mark. I mean, it's not just this deep structure in the curriculum, but just the example I mentioned. Just getting an extra mobile device, and I think with your institution, Catherine, and the Wi-Fi network, the protocols that lock down the use of cable TV. So I mean, we have to set up a special streaming to the big screen game. But we're also finding, when it comes to things like the board of studies, that some of our officers are in fact being finally with colleagues on the next new understanding and approaches that this disruption is bringing with it. And I think we've all experienced that.
I think having institutional buy-in is a really critical thing. My institution has had an e-learning strategy which promotes all of us. The projects that we're working on that in line with the strategy and requirements that makes life a lot easier for our department. We get to run and monitoring it the way we want. For the project, this is reasonably recent. We changed the teaching spaces that we're following the lead in. And so that makes a huge change for us. So that's something I like.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you very much. So yes, thank you again. Because I talked to Isabel, because you're a big group, because you've been waiting, I've got two, and I give it to you. You cover it.
I think we'll just contribute this back to the evening drinks at the end.
Okay. Thank you very much. Don't leave the room yet. I give you 1 minute to do the transfer, and we've got both people in Canada. So we just put the sound here. Ta-da. Vous m'entendez?
Oui, c'est bon.
On est là.
C'est bon? Ok.
Oui.
Donc vous êtes live, on entend le son. Voilà. Donc je vais vous présenter, et puis vous pouvez partager votre screen, d'accord?
Merveilleux.
Okay. So now we've got from Canada, we've got the MAM group with Miss Pixel, Eric Beck, and Sven Buridans. C'est ça?
You can just say Sven.
Sven. Okay, just Sven. Okay. The three musketeers based in Canada, live with us. And over to you now.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. So we are a mobile art movement, as Laurent said, with Miss Pixel here, and Sven, and myself, Eric Beck. So we are three artists with very different backgrounds, but with the same goal, to promote mobile art. So now we're going to go to our visual presentation.
Yep.
Won't be long. So could everybody see the first slide?
Okay.
Yes, fine. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. So part of our mission is to obviously make the promotion of mobile art through a wide array of expressions. using various types of media, like photography, obviously, which is the main medium that we use, poetry, video, sound experimentations, and even sound installations. We do exhibitions, events, workshops with adults and kids. This is, we are constantly wanting to put an educational stance to our projects. And we want to make mobile art as much as possible very accessible to a large public. So we're kind of a bridge between visual art institutions and a greater public. We do not limit ourselves to present mobile art like only the tools that we use, but also we focus on the concept of mobility in the creative process. So we're going to have a little brief overview of certain projects and events that we do. We do a lot of Apple Store events and conferences in Montreal, mostly. It's a way of getting closer to a large public and putting some emphasis on different aspects of our work. Like you can see in this slide that we're showing some printed work. It seems pretty obvious, but people are very interested to see the going from virtual to print. And then sometimes also we present our own work.
So I present my own work in the Apple Store in Japan, London, and Barcelona.
And sometimes also we invite other artists, and it's nice for them to learn how to talk about their work in front of a public. It's kind of like a way for new artists, new mobile artists, to discover some other publics.
So for this presentation, we will put the spotlight on 3 specific projects related to the use of mobile media.
These 3 projects are distinctly different approaches, but they all have one goal, is to a very educational stance to it. So the first project we're going to talk about is called, sorry, the title is in French, Éphéméride mobile, but if I translated, it would be Mobile Ephemeris. Ephemeris is like a calendar that you take a day, you take 1 page every day, so it has a certain limit in time. So Éphéméride mobile is a punctual event that we've integrated into a work environment. The event took place at Moment Factory's headquarters in Montreal. For those, maybe people know about Moment Factory, but they're a very well-known international company that deals with new media.
And for this event, we decided to invite 20 students of design class from the Cégep du Vieux-Montréal. It was a nice occasion for those youngsters to work on a concrete level in a highly renowned place.
Just to specify that for Cégep, here in Quebec in Canada, more specifically in Quebec, is the equivalent of college students in the United States, let's say. So the project, the idea of the project was to capture their creative space, the environment, the architecture, by taking hundreds of snapshots using only a mobile camera, a very lo-fi device compared to the high-tech environment that we were in. And afterwards, we were displaying the results, our visual interpretations in the exact same place. More than 1,200 images were created by our team and the students, and also the 20 graphic design students from the Cégep. These that you see on the slide are from the students that were using Éphéméride mobile to start with their graphic project. So the images were printed on many squares of paper of different quality, flat, glossy, matte, reminiscent of the size of the Post-it, which were already abound in this creative location. The images were presented on their own or in a group that represented a sequence, as you can see in this image. And yes, even some images were presented on the plants.
The installation took an evening and a morning to finish.
The Moment Factory staff were given afterwards, they were given leave to take the small works of art and use them for their own purposes in their workspaces. So through this event, we were trying to express the idea of mobility through the act of reappropriating a work as well as the ephemeral quality of the installation itself.
And it was very interesting because this act created a contrast between the high-tech environment of Moment Factory and the low-tech tools used by us.
This is for us how we managed to put the emphasis on education, both by inviting students to a professional venture and by showing our lo-fi work to international acclaimed high-tech magicians.
So here's the time lapse that condensed 6 hours of work in 2 minutes. Laurent, can you start the first video, please? Thank you. Oh non, parce que son micro est fermé.
Est-ce qu'on le voit?
Eh ben, ils vont...
Ah, ici, si.
Ils vont capoter.
Comment capoter?
Ils vont se puis vont faire...
Allez, parce qu'il parle.
Fonctionne-tu?
Oui, je pense que oui. Ils sourient tous. Ah, ça leur fait du bien, on les détend. Tu sais qu'ils sourient. Tantôt, ils souriaient pas.
Tu fais un screen grab de ça?
J'ai peur.
Ouais.
Ils nous entendent?
Oui.
Ok.
Okay. Thank you.
On a eu des problèmes techniques, désolé, ça n'a pas marché. C'est pour
ça
ça
ne fonctionne pas?
On peut essayer de là, non?
Non.
Donc on passe à l'autre, désolé. Donc la vidéo, ça ne marche pas, il y a un problème de connexion ici interne.
Well, if ever you want to see the time lapse, you can go on Miss Pixel's YouTube channel and just do Moment Factory, and you'll be able to find the time lapse. It's pretty interesting to see all the process for that. So now we're going to go to the second project that is called Transfer, if you want transfer. It was a public event that was filmed for Les Nouveaux Explorateurs, a documentary series that aired on the French television channel Canal+. To accomplish this project, we juggled 3 separate but coherent projects: show mobile work in a public space, to enact a mobile experience in a televisual format, and to invite other artists to interpret their immediate surroundings.
The first idea was to show our work, but also to invite six artists to attend a mobile walk and capture images of Montreal. Once again, we like to scout and find emerging talents and give them the opportunities to explain their work.
That was scout. If you can, we would like to. We like to go and find some artists. So scouting.
Scouting.
Artists.
Sorry.
Okay. Sorry about our Montreal accent. So and then these 6 artists were asked to reinterpret their images using their own visual language.
And here the results of this creative exercise were printed as high-quality posters, and they were displayed on walls generally dedicated to public advertising.
It was a collaboration. By the way, it was a collaboration with a company that put the posters on Montreal walls called Publicité Sauvage. If you can, maybe a savage publicity. So by creating this spontaneous and ephemeral exhibition in a public pedestrian space, we knew that it would provoke a reaction and surprise the spectators, who then became part of an unexpected twist. The goal of the performance was to show the public that mobile art can go far and beyond simple virtual broadcasting.
So it's the second video, but it's not working. So you can do the same as the first one. Go to my YouTube channel and search for Transfer video.
What you're going to see is a small excerpt from the documentary that was shot in 2013 on with the program Nouveaux Explorateurs. So
so it is in French, but you can see.
Yes. Sorry. So the third project we're going to talk about is mobile art weekends, les weekends d'art mobile. The Weekend d'Art Mobile, the mobile art weekends, is an introduction to mobile art projects with conferences and workshops held at the Musée des Beaux-Arts de Sherbrooke, the Fine Art Museums of Sherbrooke, a long-standing institution in visual arts. The WAM is now on its 3rd iteration.
The goal was to create closer ties between artists and general public through artist conferences, creative workshops for adults and children,
as well as a mobile walk where artists and the public can interact, as you can see on this slide. Also, performances were held where other lesser-known forms of mobile expression, including sound research and literature, were included as a part of the types of media that make up mobile art. You can see on this slide on the left side Jean-Yves Fréchette, which we consider kind of like the father of mobile art in Quebec, because he really introduced the idea of mobility throughout for the last 20 years, and he gave a performance at the Weekend d'Art Mobile. So it was totally something else than photography, and very, very, very nice to follow. Jean-Yves Fréchet. So for the third edition of the WAM, we have decided we've added the drone as a feature, since we believe it's in its artistic possibilities. I'm sorry, not only in its technical capacities. To finish, we want to tell you also that we do exhibitions, and every time that we show our work as a group or on our own, we always bear in mind that mobility and mobile art is our first preoccupation. So these were that was an overview of 3 of our projects. So we're open to questions.
Bravo. Je sais pas si vous entendez le son. Okay. Do you have any questions? I can broadcast here, or come closer actually. Yeah, let's have an interactive learning system. Do you have any questions? Yes, you can one? Anyone? David?
Yeah, I'm kind of interested.
Come, David. You need to talk to the microphone. Sorry to put you on the spot. But, yeah, and the microphone is here. So David is coming.
I talk into the microphone.
Yes, yeah.
Hello. Bonjour. I'm interested in. You say that you're always on the lookout for emerging artists.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering how much they travel with you beyond the single projects, or whether you choose different people for the different things that you're doing at any one time.
We try to have we try to find many different people every time, but we do have a few constant collaborators that follow us or do a project with us for sure. But every time we do Apple Store event or a something at the Musée des Beaux-Arts, we try to have either find some local talents or talents that are from the province of Quebec, and we do collaborate also with international artists. That's for sure. So we try to gather as many people as possible, but we do have a few regular collaborators, that's for sure.
Yeah, thank you. Max is coming for a question.
Bonjour. Hello. Kia ora. Just want to really sort of get some more ideas or feedback from you on the exploration of cityscapes and urban spaces. Because you had this morning some 2 great presentations on using Gigaverso.
We're sorry. There's something happened. A little technical problem. We didn't get the question. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'll try again. Hello. Kia ora. Urban spaces. So we had some great presentations this morning that referenced Giga Vertov and also sort of an extension of this of quantum filmmaking. And so could you just sort of very briefly sort of flag up some of the themes that emerged out of the urban environment? Sorry, I wasn't.
You wanted to see some images?
Some themes, some like topics or some ideas that were like the that came up most in the urban explorations. Was it like landscapes and city images, or we had a very great keynote this morning from Anders Weberg, which talked about personal experiences a lot. So just trying to see, like, was there some commonalities that came up, or was everything just very different, which is great as well. But
well, the visions were very different from one artist to the other, that's for sure, and that's exactly the idea that we were trying to express. I think the preoccupation was not very, say, theoretical. The idea was really to try and show each artist's vision of the urban landscape, and the results were very different for sure. And we were putting mainly the emphasis on going from virtual to the print work. and to put it in a public space where a lot of people were going. So some of the images, like Sven's work, is extremely abstract. So the results were very, very abstract. Some people will really like clean shots of architecture. The visions were very, very different.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Maybe you could also tweet the link using the hashtag MENA2014, because then we could, you know, have a look later online. So if you just send us a link with the hashtag 2014, we'll look at it already. Yeah. Thank you very much. Merci.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other question? One more question? Yes, no? Yes, one more question.
One more question.
I have to kneel. Okay.
Take a pinch. Sorry.
I'll pray. Okay. About 50 years ago, Andy Warhol made the ironic comment that the department store is the new museum. The museum is the new department store. And if I think about Apple shops, I think they must be the most corporate art galleries in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, what are you doing with them?
Well, we're not showing our work necessarily in the Apple shops. Mainly what we do is I'm sorry. Mainly what we're trying to do is to pinpoint on one specific topic. The last one we did was really putting the emphasis from what was going on from looking at art on your screen and having it printed on canvases or on museum type of papers. So it's really more like workshops and conferences that we do in the Apple stores. We didn't show slides of our exhibitions, but we do show our work in galleries. I had a solo exhibition in Montreal lately. Isabelle works, shows her work regularly in Quebec and also in Europe. Sven also has shows in galleries. So we don't use Apple stores as galleries, that's for sure. It's just really a place for workshops and conferences.
And it's the reason why our name is Mobile Art Montreal, because at the beginning the name was iPhoneography Montreal, but iPhoneography Montreal is too much stamped by a mark like Apple, the brand. So it's why we open the idea of mobile art, because there's Android and it's not about branding.
So at first, when we did workshop in Apple, so it was a great place to connect with people. So and meet some new artists. But it's really just a place to do some workshop and connect with people, not to show our work like gallery.
And we are not attached to the brand in a way.
No way.
Don't worry about that.
Okay. Excellent, thank you. Any burning question? I think we will engage with Twitter. I don't want to take you away too long for some lunch. Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for connecting with us.
Thank you.
I will stop the broadcasting. We will have a good drink on your behalf. And normally you're supposed to have a bottle of wine, but if you can organize my air ticket to deliver the wine in Canada, I'm more than happy to keep it. Otherwise, I will drink it within a week.
Maybe you can organize our plane ticket to get in New Zealand and drink with you.
I think I need to drink the whole box before I can talk about that. Hey, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Bye.
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 Okay, so